All right, let's start. Oh. अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशेर् यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तम् गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् हरिः ओम् हरिः ओम् Meditation. Three meditations inspired by Viveka-Chudāmani. Meditation is a word that attracts everybody's attention, like the word love, on which any play, any movie, any poem immediately attracts people. But love is so much misunderstood and so much misused also. Similarly, the wise say meditation is also much misunderstood, much misused, but all the same is a word that attracts people. For people have an idea, a fancy in their mind. Well, meditation perhaps is a shortcut to realization, and we can bypass study, we can bypass so many other spiritual practices just to learn meditation and go to the highest state and so on. Though I called it a fancy, they are not totally wrong. If somehow they really learn what meditation is and how to meditate, surely they can go higher and higher very fast. But with some superficial ideas of meditation, if people just want to control their mind, people want to go for some artificiality, people want to just imagine something, visualize something, and what is worse, when all those do not work, they start the blame game. They blame themselves, they blame their non cooperative mind, they may blame whoever taught that form of meditation. It leads to a lot of confusion. Puja Swami Chinmayananji especially told all of us who were and who are following him, when you study Vedanta and you have a great clarity about what this pure self is, after all, what is blocking our freedom and so on, that clarity makes meditation happen, he would say. Therefore, he never encouraged people from, or he never encouraged people to plunge into meditation. Well, some prayers, some sitting quietly, some japa, or some exercises to calm the mind are certainly welcome. But the importance of studying, not elaborately, but studying certain essential topics. What is the pure self? What is liberation? What is our bondage? What is the cause of sorrow? How exactly our mind causes sense of inadequacy, incompleteness in us, and so on. These are very essential topics. In the light of all this, we will take up a little bit of loud thinking on meditation. To facilitate that, let me see if I can show you just 3 or 4 slides where the shlokas that I have selected from Viveka-Chudāmani are also shown. All of you know Viveka-Chudāmani for sure. However, just for the information of 1 or 2 people who may not know what this Viveka-Chudāmani is, it is one of the most respected, most talked about independent works on the Vedānta, Advaita Vedānta. Upanishads are the source books or the source revelations believed to be from God Himself, whereas independent works referred to as prakarana-granthas are works by great saints, great luminaries who sat down and wrote these works, but it is not independent in the sense they wrote something totally on their own. It is completely in line with, very much aligned with Upanishads and the Gita. Viveka-Chudāmani, running into 580 or 81, or in some publications 82, 580 plus shlokas, is a feast for Vedanta students. The wide range of topics covered, beautiful illustrations, lot of terrific punchlines, and emphasis at number of places on what is the crux of the matter. Very persuasive statements, and at times Viveka-Chudāmani warns us, cautions us, dissuades us from living an extrovert life. Viveka-Chudāmani is also considered a piece of excellent Sanskrit, excellent poetry, and people see some guidance in Viveka-Chudāmani, even in general self-management, life management, and so on. But we will look at the shlokas that we have selected from the angle of view of meditation upon the ultimate truth, Brahma, which Advaita Vedanta says is the truth of our existence. Who am I? Vedanta answers that question. But that answer is to be contemplated upon with proper guidance, for really speaking, the pure self is beyond words, beyond description. 3 meditations inspired by Viveka-Chudāmani are our focus in this webinar 295 of Fawai Forum. Fawai stands for the flame of who am I. If through some study and proper reflection you can light up the flame in you, that flame can make the question who am I so powerful that the question who am I, gathering tremendous energy and momentum, can burn away hundreds, if not thousands, of false notions that you have about yourselves. It is in that sense that the who am I question is called a flame. Flame burns. If you keep some camphor near a flame, the flame burns the camphor, and in the place of camphor, nothing is left. Sublimation. Likewise, if we bring ourselves closer to the well understood significance of who am I, there will be nothing left in us, especially or more specifically, the ego in us vanishes, leaving no trace of it, and the pure self alone remains. Before I share with you the three selected verses for this session, let me present a shloka from Viveka-Chudāmani itself, which praises meditation. All of you know that in the Vedānta tradition, Shravana, Manana, and nididhyāsana are regarded as the three steps. And the fourth step mentioned in the shloka is these three steps, Shravana, Manana, and nididhyāsana, can catapult you to the height of a extraordinary experience, that is nirvikalpa samadhi. In the Jnana Marga, experiences are not so much valued. Right understanding is valued. However, the experience of nirvikalpa samadhi can be a tremendous shot in the arm, and it can help you with greater conviction. It can actually speed up all your spiritual practices. So, in this context of Shravana, which is also called Shruti, Manana, which is also called Mati, and Nididhyasa or Nididhyasana, which is called Dhyana or meditation, this 364th shloka says to us, do you know, Shruti is great when you listen to good speakers or when you study wonderfully written works. When you are receptive, you are seeking clarity, and when you get clarity about the spiritual topics, you have all experienced. There is such joy, there is such exhilaration within you, there is such inner happiness. Ah, this is what I must do more and more. I must free myself from all kinds of worldly engagements to the extent possible. I must be careful about getting caught in money, pleasure, and such things which drain my energy away, which take away my precious time. This Shravana, this study is so good, I should be more involved in it, and so on. You and I feel. Viveka-Chudāmani says in this shloka, if Shruti or Shravana is so wonderful in your eyes, you have tasted the happiness of it, let me tell you, 100 times more will be your happiness when you get a handle upon manana. Shruti, someone is saying, an author, a speaker, a guru, a teacher, a guide, puts something in a beautiful way, and you are excited. Wow, how nice. Manana is you reflect upon what you heard, and in manana, contemplation or reflection conducted correctly, doubts just fall by the side. You have an understanding freed from doubts. Therefore, the shloka says, manana, in as much as it removes various obstacles in the form of doubts and confusions, takes you to a level 100 times higher than Shravana. Shrutehe shatagunam vidyat mananam. That much is one sentence. Mananadapi nididhyāsam laksha-gunam. Vidyat. Vidyat. One must know nididhyāsa, meditation, to be 100,000 times higher than manana. So 100,000 multiplied by 100, such a huge numbers. Therefore, nididhyāsa, meditation, is regarded as unbelievably greater sadhana, provided you are able to do it. There are many gurus who go around in the world and say, don't have to study, don't do anything else, just to meditate. They sit quietly, their followers sit quietly. But the fact of the matter is, 1 in 10,000 might truly benefit from it. All others go into, if not sleep, a kind of what we call in Vedānta absorption. The mind gets absorbed in some sort of peace. But when you see them later, they are not freed from very many narrow outlooks, conditionings, fear, anxiety, regrets, and so on. They have driven themselves into a hole as though they have compartmentalized spirituality to enjoying certain peace in some special states of mind to which they are able to go, but they are not able to live in real life with the same joy in their heart. Therefore, in the Vedanta, Shravana is insisted upon, Manana is insisted upon, and on the firm foundation of a good understanding drawn by Manana and drawn from earlier Shravana. Shravana Manana thus are step 1 and step 2. And this evening here in India, or the morning in the West, in this webinar, we want to especially consider step 3. Step 3 is nididhyāsa. Dhyayati means one meditates. And wanting to meditate is nididhyāsana. And when you have a very steady desire to meditate, technically that is the meaning of nididhyāsana. Ni means nischita rupena, nischayena, not somehow pulling on. Not because you wrote a schedule, I must meditate in the evening 6 p.m. daily. Oh my God, having decided I better do it and you really don't want to do. That is not nididhyāsana. Nischayena. Really you have, by God's grace and by your own punya karma, really you have a desire, a firm desire, a firm will to meditate. That is nididhyasa. Didhyasa is like how na to know becomes jidnasa, wanting to know. Dhyay to meditate becomes didhyasa, feminine, or didhyasaha, masculine. Didhyasanam, neuter. 3 kinds of nouns are found. So nididhyasanam, practically it is nothing but that involvement in more and more of contemplation. Most of us realize that we cannot sit quietly. There is so much of tamas or rajas in us. 5 minutes also we do not sit quietly. We go around, we pick up something, we drop something, we call somebody, we check messages, something or the other. Therefore, very few people can really go to the heights of step 3, meditation. And then, though it is not our main topic here, in this particular verse of Viveka-Chudāmani, nirvikalpa samadhi, a certain state of supreme bliss where you do not see any division. Vikalpa means division. Vikalpa means bheda. Vikalpa is where there is the difference between the object and the subject. And nirvikalpa, there is bliss. You don't even say, I have bliss. I am bliss is the experience. And if Manana is 100 times superior to Shravana. Meditation is 100,000 times superior to Manana. This Nirvikalpa Samadhi is said to be infinitely superior. So these are ways of expressing. Do not hang on to the numbers so much. It is to place meditation on really a very high pedestal. Now we see how Viveka-Chudāmani guides us to or towards meditation. Among the kinds of meditation we are presenting, you have this most wonderful way. Meditation is essentially letting go of false conditionings. You and I, without knowing most of the time, carry a large number of conditionings. Conditioning means something unreal. You actually are okay, but you imagine you are not okay. On some physical grounds, on some financial grounds, or alas, on the basis of an opinion that some Tom, Dick, or Harry has about you. Somebody said this person is very mediocre and it hurts you, but secretly you buy into that view. You think that he is right. I am so mediocre. I am nowhere. I am such a common person. I am not at all great like she is or he is. Hold on. These are the tricks that your mind plays. Do not put any label on your mind or on your identity, on your worth. Low self worth is a major obstacle to self realization, and this low self worth, very importantly, is a vicious mischief of the human mind. You and I have to learn to accept ourselves as God has made us. And that may look a little bit difficult. How can I accept myself? How can I say I am fine? I am not fine. I am so bad. I have very bad habits. I have so many vices. I have short temper. I have lust and jealousy and greed. Oh, you don't know. You may go on saying, but it is all like a bad dream. Hold on to the Vedantic teaching and please do not yield so easily to influences. Conditionings are influences. Even when you are okay, some influence, somebody saying something makes you feel you are not okay, and alas, within a short while, that looks like the truth. Even in the Disney animation movie Lion King of early 90s, the little lion Simba is made to believe that he was the cause for his father's death. It's only after some time through which the little lion goes through with much pain, much guilty feeling, much suffering. After a certain period of time, someone lovingly, some pious person, like the Guru in the Sanatana Dharma, the Guru comes and says to the disciple, "Wake up, you are all right, there's nothing wrong with you." So Simba, the little lion, understands, oh, I was made to believe it was a lie. I wasn't the cause. A vicious, wicked uncle was the cause for my father's death. And most of you have seen the Lion King. Simba then frees himself from the shackles of those conditionings. Therefore, in so many ways, we are conditioned. Even in spirituality, somebody may be conditioned to think unless I know Sanskrit, I cannot get liberated. With all due respect to Sanskrit, that kind of sweeping generalization is not true. Sanskrit is wonderful if you can learn, but otherwise too, you can get freedom, you can get liberated. Likewise, to be able to speak like some speaker, to be able to write, to be able to publish some books, to be having some ochre robes or something, to be some, oh my, in religion and spirituality also, there are so many false notions. Therefore, an American gentleman called Wayne Dyer, who was inspired by Nisargadatta Maharaj of Mumbai, wrote a book in those good old days. He is now no more, but he was a very much popular, much invited speaker in America and probably in many other countries. Wayne Dyer, Dyer. And one of his books was Your Erroneous Zones. Your Erroneous Zones. To think, I am bad, I am limited, I am no good, I am way behind, I have so much of papa karma, prarabdha with me, hundred such things. They're all your erroneous zones. This shloka says, you know what meditation is? Lokanuvartanam tyaktva dehanuvartanam, shastranuvartanam tyaktva svādhyāsa-apanayam kuru. What a great punchline. Apanayam kuru, just let go, drop, throw away, take off, take off the mask, take off the false dress you are wearing. Be yourself. Do not come under the pressure of some notions, some false ideas pushed into you, or you bought into them in moments of lack of alertness. Apanayam kuru, remove them. And all of them in one word are called svādhyāsa. The real swa is pure, ever free. On it there is adhyasa, superimposition. Just as there is actually a rope, but there is the superimposition of a snake. If you think it is a snake, you tremble, you are afraid. But once that notion it is a snake is removed, then you see the rope and you are relaxed. You don't need to take a stick and beat up the snake or chase the snake away. Nothing needs to be done. The beauty of Vedanta is if you have clarity about the essential teaching of Vedanta, without having to do anything at all, you will be experiencing an unbelievable unburdening. You have been carrying the burden of sin, the burden of imperfection, the burden of not being as good or smart or intelligent as somebody else. Comparison, competition, etc., have created such a big mess in our minds. A proper Vedanta study can help us accept ourselves as we are, and then the personality, which may have some shortcomings, cannot hold you in its grip anymore. Let the personality be whatever it is. But I am not the personality. I am not the shadow upon which maybe some garbage is thrown. I am not the shadow upon which on other occasions some flowers are thrown. The flowers do not make me, because they have fallen on my long shadow. They don't make me feel high. The garbage that somehow fell upon my long shadow do not make me in any way unholy. I am not my shadow. In this way, loka anuvartanam, this mad, mad world makes us anuvartana, follow. Somebody got rich, I also want to get rich. Somebody has this, somebody has that. Somebody travels a lot, I also want to travel a lot. What is all this? Your sense of what you truly need has gone for a toss. You are simply imitating. And you go to ashrams and you imitate ashram people in the ashram. Somebody wears or sports a long, what do you call, tuft of grass behind, tuft of hair behind his head, what you call choti. I say, I think I should also have a long choti, like following some fashion in the mundane materialistic world. To wear this dress or to put this kind of or that kind of nama on your forehead. Oh, in all religions of the world, there are numerous religious conditionings. But before arriving there, we have social conditionings. We have materialistic conditionings. Loka. The world makes us believe that unless you have this, unless you have that, you are no good. Dehanuvartanam. The body, whether you like it or not, at times falls sick, at times is in good spirits. Whether you like it or not, body will go old. Old age cannot be avoided. But conflict over old age, turmoil over old age, self rejection on the basis of your being old can completely be avoided. That is what Vedanta tells us, and a proper study from competent teachers can make you see the truth of it. Yes, I am old, I have very less energy, I get tired so soon, I have some body ache. But yes, what this Vedanta teacher says is so true. Let the body be like that. I don't have to take it as my limitation. I actually am aware. It is only when the bug of I must walk as fast as that the person 20 years younger to me. I must also run and drive and swim and I must also be fast. Who says you have to be like her or like him? And they also one day gets old. So dehanuvartanam, bodily conditions. So in summary, we would say for an ounce of what is a genuine problem, our mind creates tons and tons of imagined sorrow, psychological sorrow. Shastranuvartanam tyaktva Viveka-Chudāmani is a bold and very brave scripture. Don't even follow the Shastras. When you gain greater maturity, even various instructions of the Shastra have to be let go of. You will let go of. When some people went to Sri Ramakrishna and said, we will go for pure devotion and we will let go of Sandhya Vandana, daily japa, etc. Sri Ramakrishna cautioned them. Well, technically you are right, but don't hurriedly leave your daily spiritual practices. Just look within. When you have lot of love for Hari, the Lord. Sri Ramakrishna put it this way, when your hair stand on their ends at the mere hearing of the name Hari, then know that you don't have to have daily practices of japa, tapa, etc. In fact, japa and tapa will leave you. You don't have to leave them. So there is a stage in the life of you and me where we have to persuade ourselves to have good habits, to be good, to speak in nice ways, and do certain spiritual practices. There is a phase where effort has a place, and there is a higher phase. And don't say, I won't be able to reach there in this life. You may reach there tomorrow morning. Don't underestimate yourself without any proper basis. You will be able to let go of effort, and effortlessly you will be in divine contemplation. Effort, schedules, rules, do's and don'ts, etc., are no doubt the marks, the characteristics of the early chapters of the journey of our life, but with proper Vedanta study, without letting go of them hurriedly, at the right time you will know. Your heart says, I don't have to follow those rules anymore. Therefore, Shastra-anuvartanam-api tyaktva svādhyāsa-apanayam kuru. In the last slide for this presentation, on one hand, the powerful teaching of negation, let go of false notions, is said, and on the other, in a manner of saying, in a positive language, contemplate. Earlier was let go. Earlier one was leave XYZ. And the present slide talks on hold. Leave and hold. You have picked up an orange, drop that orange. And now pick up an apple. Like that, drop your false conditionings and hold on, pick up the truth of the Vedānta. janma-vriddhi-nāsha-vihinam vyādhi-nāsha-vihinam vishva-srashtyava-vighāta-kāranam brahma tattvam-asi bhāvayātmani. In fact, in the original text, there is a set of 10 verses, one after another. I chose one for this occasion. Know yourself to be changeless reality. Getting old or losing in some struggle, failing in an examination, not making it to some eligibility test in some mundane matter. In various matters, you and I find that some places we get what we want, some other places we do not get what we want. Whether we get what we want or do not get what we want, it makes no difference to the inmost being that we are. Vedanta talks about that inmost being. The inmost being, the pure self, actually doesn't have even janma, birth, vriddhi, growth, parinati, various forms of modification, apakshaya, decay, vyādi, disease, nāshana, destruction. It's devoid. Vihina means devoid of all of them. It is the same, but you need the eyes to see it. Vishwa Srishti is creation, Ava is Rakshana, and Vighata is destruction. Srishti Sthiti Laya. There is a certain truth which is the basis, which is the foundation for the whole universe to rise and fall, and you are that. Brahma tattvam-asi bhavayatmani. This may look like a tall order, but it is not so. It seems to be so because presently your mind is very noisy. Mind has so much of chatter, mental chatter. A certain author gave the example of a tuning fork. If you leave the tuning fork to itself, it becomes quiet. But every now and then, if you slightly tap the tuning fork will vibrate, it will bring out a sound. For that matter, the string of a veena. You just pull it, tap it, some sound comes. But leave it alone. Friends, you and I have to learn to leave our mind to itself. Here and there, even for 5 minutes here, for 5 minutes over there in daily life, we must learn to take a break. Sit on a sofa and say for 5 minutes, I don't want to initiate any thought. If any thought arises, I will not indulge in it. I will not ride on it for 5 minutes. I will just watch. It can make a big difference to your spiritual life because unknowingly it is you who have been giving strength, who have been breathing fresh life into this mischief maker called thought. Thinking would die on its own. It would die a natural death. But you and I Do not let it die. Like wicked politicians, do not arrest or punish all the gundas. Some gundas they want to keep with them, thinking that these gundas will protect me, they will do something for my sake. Many a time these politicians are finished off by the very gundas. Gundas means hooligans, lawbreakers, violent people. So sometimes a whole country supports a wicked fellow somewhere on the earth, and that wicked fellow turns against them at a later point of time. So there are so many stories, and in the spiritual context, this mind of ours is strengthened more by our indulging in it again and again. Let go, leave it. On its own, it becomes quiet. And when your mind is relatively quiet, doesn't have to be totally quiet, then this truth of the Vedanta, hey, who am I really? What am I really? What I am presently going through probably is just a play of the mind. Like a horror movie makes us so afraid. But it's a movie, not real. And some comedy, some movie where there is so much of fun, love, romance, songs, dance, etc., also are only a movie. This mind of ours is a movie, and we are the screen upon which the movie is played. The screen doesn't get burnt when the movie has fire. The screen doesn't get wet when the movie has water. Likewise, I am Nasha-vihinam, janma-vriddhi-nāsha-vihinam, avyayam, brahma tattvam-asi, bhavayatmani. Thus meditate. On last time, such meditation has to necessarily follow some shravana and manana, some listening and some reasoning with which you see the possibility of it. Unless you see logically the possibility of your being Sat-Chit, simply saying, I am Sat, I am Chit, I have no death, I have no birth. And what is that? The next line, oh yeah, I don't have old age, and so on. Just simply going through words would be such a useless exercise. With the Shravana and Manana, having seen how it is all very much possible, it can be so, and then you meditate on it, you actually will succeed in letting go of so many factors which had kept you bound. Let go and realize your freedom. Let me pause here and welcome comments or questions. Om Namah Shivaya. Please turn your mic on and speak up.
Very good, Swamiji.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Durgesh is asking if the issue at her end of voice now seems okay. Okay, it got sorted out. Some other books by Wayne Dyer. Another participant says, some other books by Wayne Dyer are Your Sacred Self, Wisdom of the Ages, The Sky is the Limit. Yeah, his titles themselves were so inviting, so wonderful. Yes, he was terrific. A lot of his videos are on the YouTube. You may as well watch. So inspirational, motivational speaker.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, please tell.
Subramaniam. I have one question. In your lectures, several years ago, you said put formula, that is purify, unify, and transcend.
Correct. Correct.
Do you have anything to add to it? When I understand transcend, you become an observer of your own thoughts if they are still there. That's what that will lead to the silence. That's what you mean. I just want to clarify that.
Purify, unify, and transcend, making the
Right.
acronym PUT. I do not want to add any other alphabet to it, but over the years, I myself have discovered more and more sub-varieties of each of them. So in purify, for example, it doesn't have to be passages only. Passages are wonderful. It can be even listening to music. It can be going for a walk and with a quiet mind, appreciating nature's beauty and so on. All those purify the mind. In other words, take noble things in, mind gets purified. In fact, it's a good question you asked. I must especially share what I have discovered in a big way in recent times is the food we eat. Though I knew in a way, nothing new in a sense, but with my own diabetes and other issues, I became now more and more clear how right food for both physical health and gaining spiritual stamina, right food is very important. It purifies our mind. Chandogya Upanishad has the famous line, Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhihi. When your food is pure, your mind gets purer and purer. Therefore, even a simple example, if we can reduce consumption of coffee, tea, etc., if we increase consumption of warm water or green tea or some other healthy, so if we stop eating things just for the taste, because something is tasty, you take more. More than physical health going for a toss, our spiritual stamina reduces. Anyway, so P can stand for 100 other ways of consuming, not necessarily the passage meditation, which of course Ishwaran popularized so ably. You also unify, can be through a mantra, can be through so many other supports. Mantra is a support for making the mind one pointed. And coming to T, transcend, self-observation of Krishnamurti, self-inquiry of Ramana, and contemplation as Pujya Chinmayananji advises, contemplation on Vedantic truths that has that influence of making us rise above. Because Vedantic statements ask you to let go, negate. Transcendence takes place when we let go. If we are holding on to something, how can we transcend? Just let go. Let go of what you are holding on to. Then, you know, since you have been studying Ishwaran quite exhaustively for decades, you know how Ishwaran asked his grandmother, I think, how to overcome fear of death. And she did a demonstration back in a village in Kerala. The grandmother of Eknath Ishwaran said to this boy, okay, do one thing. You sit on this chair and hold the chair so tightly, whatever comes. He says he does that. She pulls him, tries to pull him from a heavy chair of olden days, and is following the instruction. He doesn't let go of the chair. And the grandmother is pulling him. So as the grandmother pulls him and he is holding on to the chair, it is very painful. His arms perhaps get pained, she's pulling his arms. Then she stops. First part of the experiment or demonstration is over. Now she says, now second part, this time don't hold on to the chair. And he says, okay. And she pulls this maybe 8-year-old boy. He easily comes over to her arms. The grandmother pulls him and takes him in her arms, gives him a nice hug. The boy is happy, the grandmother is happy, everybody is happy. What is the difference? In the first part of the exercise, he is holding on to the chair. Second part, he lets go of the chair. Like that, transcendence is when through Vedantic contemplation, through dwelling on a beautiful statement made by somebody, you see the beauty of that poem. You don't have to go for Sanskrit or some hi-fi. I think in America, where many of you have settled, there was this lady, Mary Angelou, right? Angelou, one black lady. She became very well known. She wrote a lot of poems. And in some of those poems, again, there were very, very nice thoughts. Letting go, giving space to another person, moving with the flow, go with the flow, and so on. So I can only say in PUT, thank you for reminding me. I myself forget that those formulas I had made long back. Under P, U, and T, many more combinations, many more varieties of going about. P for purify, U for unify, and T for transcend have come to my notice, or I have learned some of them. Yeah,
Thank you, Swami.
welcome. Maybe two more questions, then we conclude. Let me see.
Yeah.
There is
So,
some two
Hare
new
Krishna, Swamiji.
Hare Krishna, tell me.
Yeah,
Yes.
you just said when we were talking about the Venn diagram, American speakers, you mentioned that we have to stop thinking also that we have prarabdha. Sometimes, in life you have real life situation where you feel that I'm good with most of the situations. Out of 10 situations, I'm good with 9. But with one particular situation, I'm not that good. So, you start like if I analyze myself, I'm very good with 9. Why I'm not good with that 1? So how, in the spiritual realm, how do we, or we just say let it go?
Somebody was dreaming and was tasting some fruits in the dream. And he went on saying, look, these fruits are bitter, those fruits are sweet. Look, these are bitter, those are sweet. Then he woke up from the dream. When he woke up, there were neither sweet fruits nor bitter fruits. This prarabdha is like that. Or so many personality traits. You and I constantly think about our strengths and shortcomings. Our traits. I'm good here, I'm bad there. This is all a dream. Study Vedanta, even 10 minutes a day, you will find there are moments where you just let go of either priding over your strengths or mourning over your weaknesses, because you know that you will have glimpses of how all that self description is like a dream. So self description, how we describe ourselves as good or bad, is a long dream. So Vedanta can help you wake up from that dream. Let me quickly read. How does one recognize? Thank you. How does one recognize true enlightenment? I can say the word I am Brahman, but how do I know the words have become living truth? Absolutely. That is the whole challenge. Therefore, Swami Chinmayananji humorously used to say, hasten slowly. Hasten means speed up. Slowly means go slow down. In other words, you and I have to have patience. Not only you students, some of us who have been teachers also, here and there have pangs of disappointment, stress. You know. Once I was very stressed, then I realized, why am I so stressed? Then I said, that's because nobody is coming to my lectures on stress management. That was the stress. Then, then I asked myself, why should I tell them how to be free of stress? Why are you attached to this work? Why are you attached to your role as a teacher? Why they perhaps are learning better from other sources. God bless them. To be attached to some role. I am the father of the family. I am the guru here. I am this. I am that. Vedanta says they are all part of a dream. In a higher plane, students are not students, teachers are not teachers, husbands are not husbands, wives are not wives. On a higher plane, a whole lot of identity that we give to ourselves all take a back seat. And that's possible. So, my advice is you want to recognize enlightenment, you want to get enlightened, have patience, and in small sips, keep taking Vedanta in and practice simple rules of health, simple rules of healthy living. Like I said, even coffee and tea, don't drink much. Sweets, maybe a small bite. If you're diabetic, don't take at all. There, you know better. You know what your error zones are. Vein diet is not required really. Your erroneous zones, all of you know. By doing what you repent, by doing what you pat yourself on the back, you know very well. So it's not the same standard set. Find out what fills you with a sense of satisfaction. Do that more. So there is one more
Hari Om.
recommendation, Swami Chinmayananda's Meditation and Life. Of course, that is an all-time classic.
Hari
Lama
Om, Swamiji.
Zopa Rinpoche's The Power of Mantra, Vital Practices for Transformation. Thank you. So other participants, please note these recommendations, if possible, from the chat box. Yeah, who said Hari Om?
Hari Om, Swamiji. I'm Shiv
Yeah.
Kumar here.
Yes, yes.
Swamiji, as you were mentioning that we should continue with our Trikala Sandhya, or we take our ceremonies, which are all
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
But uh, the more we get into that, are we getting into ritualistic? Because in this, we are supposed to do Shravanam, Mananam, and we are supposed to be focusing on this till we reach nididhyāsanam.
Yeah.
How do I equate between these two?
Yes, yes. See, Vedanta is a higher plane teachings, right? And therefore, in Vedanta, at many places, rituals are even criticized. You know,
Yes.
rituals. For example, Viveka-Chudāmani says, millions and millions, tons and tons of karma cannot give you liberation. It is only jnana. So it looks like they are whiplashing karma. However, the ground reality is we do need certain karma. It doesn't have to be blindly following anything as such, but with a little bit of double checking, you find out how particular practices have been helpful to you and do them. You have the freedom in modern times, you have the freedom to stop doing certain things and adopt some new practices for daily spirituality. Today, especially in city life, everybody has so much of freedom, like about food. Not only your own staple food. Once a week you may go to a Thai restaurant. Once in a while you go to an Italian place. Don't you do all those? Likewise, in spiritual practices, a large amount of freedom is given to you. The rest of it is common sense. Sometimes you may want to carry on certain practice as an example to younger people, as something that you have received from your father, grandfather, and so on. So that's another side to it. Therefore, sometimes you keep some practices more out of common sense than being much direct, much related to the Vedantic practice. Many of those practices do not take much time anyhow, do not cost you much anyhow, but it may have a healthy influence on grandchildren, on people growing up, people living under the same roof. Therefore, you do it on some festival, you do an arati, Shiva festival, Rama festival, Krishna festival, Devi festival. So you do have freedom, and I would say nothing is so much insisted upon really. You have the freedom, but think twice before really letting go in a hurry. Rituals can have some effect of purifying the mind. So, but you can change the packaging. See, Eknath Ishwaran moved to USA last 30 or 40 years of his life. He lived there, and most of his followers were Westerners. But he wrote one of his best-selling books is the Mantram Handbook. And lots of Europeans or white Americans liked it. But he presented it in a very modern way. Repeat your mantra while doing the morning walk. Repeat your mantra when you are flying 1.5 hours from San Francisco to some other city. He would say like that. Whereas in our old style, a lot of externalities were too much insisted upon. Take baths, sit there, don't wear a special cloth that time, etc. So many externalities. But as citizens of big cities like Chennai or Bangalore, Hyderabad, etc., people can take some liberty. But can anyone deny the need for training the mind a little bit? Training the senses, training the mind are actually essential. One in 10,000 probably can skip the practices. All others will pay a heavy price because the ground reality is the higher contemplation is not everybody's cup of tea. Mind gets very externalized. Therefore, with enjoying a lot of freedom, do you know, do design your own way to train the senses, to train the mind, so that they don't go berserk. That's the whole idea. Rituals are not insisted upon, but actually they do give some benefit. Therefore, it is advised, it is recommended, do them. But if you are one in many large number of people who is able to rise with the Vedanta contemplation alone, no problem. Shastras give us the freedom.
Thank you, Swamiji. The only anxiety was the more you get into rituals,
Yeah.
you get engrossed in the ritualistic lifestyle.
Yeah. So you may trim it down there. Correct. We should not get engrossed. It
Yes,
should
Swami.
not come to a point where, because of so many rituals to be done, you have no time to study Vedanta. You know? So
Yes,
balancing is required. Yeah. Reduce. Do reduce.
yes.
There are middle paths, there's a wonderful expression. Rather than totally stopping japa, you are doing, let's say, 30 minutes before, do it for 5 minutes. Nowadays, I recite several mantras, and so many times at night I have no energy to do any of them. So instead of 108 of those 6 or 7 mantras, I do only, if I'm confessing, I do only 5 times. 5 times Om Namah Shivaya, 5 times Om Namo Narayan. It goes in half a minute. But I just, have the satisfaction. I did not cause a discontinuity in my practice. So, like that, find a middle path, neither zero nor the full steam, full measure. Keep some practices where you have some belief that it does some good to me, and trim them or they reduce the quantity.
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
That's
Thank
that
you.
way.
Thank you,
So there
Swamiji.
is one question or something. Hari Om Swami, you mentioned not to drink tea and coffee, whereas in the USA, dietitians say that one should have 2 cups of coffee. One to 2 cups of coffee is healthy. To some extent, this US, all this propaganda is also fueled by lobbies. Coffee lobby, tea lobby, sugar lobby, milk lobby. Today's world is highly, driven by lobbies. And to some extent, it may be on scientific evidence. At a certain stage, so abruptly, if one stops taking tea while the fellow was taking 4 cups, 8 cups a day, yeah, it can cause headache. Many people say, if I don't take tea, I get headache. Therefore, slowly reduce. And yeah, 1 or 2 cups, I would also say you may have 1 or 2 cups if you are much into coffee or tea. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing that thought that in fact, modern science and psychology um, uh, addresses the middle level people more, whereas Eastern wisdom very often talks about people on a higher level. For example, in India, in Eastern Indian tradition, somebody is not married, somebody is alone, somebody is living an ascetic life, he is highly respected right away. But the fact is that kind of way of living is not possible for large numbers of people. For large numbers of people to have a family life and follow certain healthy values, helps a lot. So Western, once I was attending long back a seminar in San Francisco, there was this famous doctor, that heart reverser, Dean Ornish. Dean Ornish spoke, and one slide said, science has proved that married people are happier than single men or single women. I didn't like it because I was also very young and very fresh. In India, we adore some swamis and sannyasis who have no spouse. And this Dean Ornish put up a slide that married people are happier than single ones. But afterwards, I thought over it. He is not comparing married people with the sadhus and sannyasis. He is comparing married people with other, regular people who badly want a companion but is not getting. You see the difference? You compare a regular man married with a Swamiji of Rishikesh or Haridwar, that's very rare. But compare him or her with somebody else who badly is looking for a companion but somehow not getting. Then obviously someone who has a companion, as they say humorously, you need a companion at least to fight with. Right? The other fellow says, I don't even have somebody to pick an argument and fight. Therefore, with whom we are comparing, that also comes in. So these 2 cups of coffee are okay if not having coffee is making you so miserable and so distraught and having headache and such things. Then, as the expression goes, pay the devil its due. Take 2 cups of coffee and be done with that. So contextual factors exist. Okay, 2 people have raised their hand. So Ravindra Murthy, please go ahead. Mic on. Please turn mic on.
Pranam Swamiji. Pranams to all. Just wanted to pick up along Shivkumarji's input. Once we cognize the Atman for what it is, once you lose the kartrutva, the doership, whether you are engaged in any action, be that be religious or non-religious, when we recognize that it is all proceeding from the same divinity, the same source, through the psychosomatic apparatus, one can be constantly be aware of that and be fully engaged. For example, I don't like to wash dishes, but situation calls for that. And I say that's a divine directive. And I just do it. And again, when I say I do it, I just see the body as the doer. I am not the doer. That's the kind of approach that I have taken. And one can engage even in a puja. When I do the puja, I say that is coming from the directive, the methodology, this body that is performing the action. It is all proceeding from the same source. That's the approach that I have taken, Swamiji.
Thank you. Wonderful sharing. Okay,
Swamiji.
Durgesh.
Hari Om,
Durgesh has...
Swamiji.
Hari Om. Who is speaking?
Hari Om. Jyoti.
Yes, Jyoti,
from
speak.
Vancouver. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you please chant? This is an easy one for you. Chant verse 258, please.
258. Was it in a slide also?
Yeah, it was in the second or third slide. Janma-vriddhi.
Here it is. It's not displayed. Should I display it? I can display too.
If it's not a problem.
Not a problem at all. I just have to again select that and share. Is it visible now?
It's coming, I think. Yeah.
It's simple. Janma-vriddhi-nāsha-vihinam Vedānta Vishvasrashtyava-vighata-karanam Brahma tattvam-asi bhavayatmani.
Thank you, Swamiji.
So
That
on the
itself
slide, I had
seems like a
split the
meditation.
sandhi. So Brahma, Vishwa, Srishti, Ava. So when you chant properly, you have to combine this. Srishti, Ava, Vighata. Parinatya, Pakshaya. I split it for you to recognize the words. Parinati, Apakshaya. But if you split the sandhi, then the rhythm of singing is disturbed. Okay.
Thank you, Swamiji.
All right. We'll conclude for now. See you again another time.
Hari Om,
Namaste.
Swamiji.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.
Thank you to all.